In this week's episode, we're coming up on the busy season, so we're going to go over some techniques on how you can hire fast and efficiently. Hi folks, we're going to talk about getting into the hiring season, and it happens a little bit faster than a lot of people are ready for. We'll come up on May and suddenly you go from 0 to 100 and you need a lot of people and you need them fast. So here's one of the tricks that I learned when I was working in the big box retail world. At Target and at Cost Plus World Market, I would have to go into a new store and hire the entire store when we were opening new stores. And we might have as many as 700 interviews to get through in a single week. So how do you handle that, and how do you find the gems that are out there compared to the general riffraff that comes in? So in the beginning, I found that I would ask the standard questions: what are your strengths and weaknesses? Why should I hire you? And I would get these canned answers of, I think I would be a great asset to your team. And I got tired of hearing that, and then somebody showed me this really cool technique for group interviewing. And if you've never seen this done before, it's absolutely worth trying. I know that Southwest Airlines still does this. They'll get a group of people that are applying and they'll start asking all of them questions. So here's a quick example. Hopefully you can see this on the screen. It's just the names of the people and where they're sitting around the table while you start an interview. And this works for as many people as you want. I wouldn't do more than about 7 to 10 at a time. In our industry, usually you're just going to be doing a few. So here's some examples. I've got their names written down. We do a little get to know each other bit, and then I have them do 2 different sections. The first section is they have to interview each other and sell me as to why I should hire the other person. So Bob has to interview John and find out a little bit about John, and then he has to sell John to me. And what that does is it tests how much Bob can pay attention to the task at hand, whether or not he can remember these things, whether or not he was detail-oriented enough to take notes, and whether he can communicate that back to me. And vice versa, then you have them switch roles. So that's step 1. Step 2 is you just ask them some scenario questions. You can say, let's say that you don't know anything about the party rental business, but you come with some equipment. What do you think some of the concerns are for the parents at the party? And then maybe the next question is, what are some concerns that you should make sure that they're being taken care of? This is before you get into any training, any specifics. You just want to get a feel of their problem-solving abilities, right? So what I did is, it's a very simple process, and I know it sounds silly, but when John says, I'd just let them set up whatever they want. All right, that's a minus for John. Bob says, well, I would set them up so that the parents could see where the kids are playing so they can keep an eye on them, because I would imagine safety is probably a concern. That's a check mark for Bob, okay? And you just keep going around the table. So you ask a question, and here's what I did. I would ask John, say, the first question. I'd let him answer, and then I'd let everybody else at the table also answer the question and say, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have anything to add to that? And, for example, in retail, we would say, let's say that you see a guy pick up a bottle of wine and start to walk out with it. What would you do? And if Fred says, I would jump over the counter and tackle him, that would be a big minus, because we don't want that kind of thing in retail. We want to let him go and try to get some information about him on the way out, right? If he says that and then Samantha says, no, I would never do that. I was trained at my last place. Don't ever try to make a stop yourself. There's too much liability and danger. They might have a gun. All right, that's a check mark. She has some life experience. So at the end of the interview, it becomes incredibly obvious who you should hire. The answer is whoever has the most check marks. All right, so you just hire the people that have the most check marks. They made the most just good decisions in their mind when you're playing these scenario games. It's not that there's a right or a wrong answer, it's that they're using common sense in a good way. And I did that at the last store that I opened up in Louisiana, and I had the best team I've ever hired. So give that a try. This is a great way to get a lot of group interviews done and to make it really obvious between the two or three or however many applicants you have, which one is the best hire. Another tip that I just thought of that I used to do when I was hiring people at Target, the same thing applies in our industry. You need high energy people. You don't need people that are just looking for a very slow moving desk job. So what I would do when I was hiring for the stock team, for example, is I'd say, great, let's have an interview. My office is in the back of the store, and I would walk as fast as I could to get to the back of my office. And if they could keep up, then they had the right energy level. And if they couldn't and they were walking slow and didn't pick up on the fact that there was a sense of urgency, they had already lost the interview before we started. They didn't know that, but that's how I did it. So in our industry where you need high energy people, see if they can pick up on subtle cues like a sense of urgency to move fast. If you found this information helpful in any way, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment. And now that YouTube is doing their new little bell thing, when you subscribe, make sure you click the bell as well so you don't miss any of the new content that's coming out every Tuesday.